Hello and welcome to the Digital Business Short Course Student Information Session. With me today, I have Chief Academic Officer Iona McKimmie. Iona, welcome.
Hi James, I'm really looking forward to talking about these courses today because they provide so many opportunities, especially in terms of career progression and even for students that are entering the employment for the first time. So these are really great course offerings.
Yeah, look, I absolutely agree. Look, I couldn't think of a more applicable, pertinent, and exciting group of skill sets that make up this series, particularly in today's environment. So let's jump right into it and have a look at these skill sets themselves. I suppose the delivery time and, of course, some of the key competencies that they deliver.
Well, we actually have three skill sets or three short courses for developing your knowledge and your skill. Um, like I said before, whether you're entering the workforce for the first time or you're currently working in a role, and looking to develop certain areas of what you do, these are really exciting. So the first one that I'll talk about is digital business administration, which introduces us to producing documents and spreadsheets, and we know those spreadsheet skills are so important in every business context. The next one we also look at is workplace technology as well in the second short course. And the other short course we look at is business operations. So these short courses take up documents and spreadsheets, digital technology for collaboration, just like we're doing today. And that digital technology is now so embedded in so many jobs that we do, whether we work in a call center or in an office, or whether we're a medical receptionist, we're using that digital technology every day in our roles, whether it's a booking system or Zoom or any one of the thousand other systems that we could think of. Service tickets, for example. Electronic presentations is another very, very important skill, and so is business risk management and operations. So these three short courses, in each in their own way, build on that the knowledge and the skill, and also, encourage us to become more confident working with these tools in our day-to-day working life.
Excellent. Now, of course, students can do a single skill set, or they can choose to do two, or they can do all three. And I think what's great about them is how they actually work really well together. So certainly the units in one skill set will complement the other, and so on and so forth. So I think that's really good. And in saying that, let's have a look at the actual units themselves. So back on over to you to talk to us about each of the skill sets and perhaps a little bit of insight into the units themselves.
So the digital business administration skill set introduces us to using spreadsheets, as I said before, but also text documents as well. And included in that design and producing of text documents is also HTML editing. So if we're looking at, for example, working in an organisation, we may have to do updates to a website. Which is not uncommon in many small businesses, and it's a great skill to have. And and also copy, being able to write copy, but also being able to write and produce formal business documents as well, such as reports and white papers and so on. Spreadsheets takes us through utilizing spreadsheets to analyze data, write formulas, create visualizations, so those visualizations of our data, and digital solutions to work processes. As I mentioned before, the way our world has changed with work and will continue to change. It's about collaboration, it's about utilizing platforms such as MS Office and Teams to collaborate and to work with others, but also in other environments as well. So work processes and digital technology is something that is really, it is almost become one of the core skills or the transferable skills that we need to take with us to each phase of our career, if you like, and through different contexts. So the workplace technology skill set, which is the second skill set that we've got here, is about research, and it's about presenting the results of information. Excuse me. We might work in a marketing team, for example, and we might be undertaking competitor analysis. We might be starting our own business and looking at what the competition is. We might actually be intending to continue our study, and we want to learn about how to research. But also, there's a number of roles that we utilize technology. So we might actually be in a procurement role, and we might be looking for alternative componentry, for example. So there's a whole lot of things that we actually research the internet for. We might be looking for new software for the business that we work for, and so on and so forth. Then design and produce spreadsheets, which, excuse me, is again about how to use spreadsheets and how to put results and present results of our research, but also creating presentations, and again, that design and produce business documents. Now, our business operations support skill set is really great for people who are either wanting to work in an office or an administration environment, and that's across all business sectors. So again, it's about researching and developing business plans. So it's a different aspect of what we do as far as administration is concerned. Reporting on financial activity, coordinating our business resources, which is very, very important. Coordinating our operational plans and our risk management process. So the three skill sets, as you said before, very comfortably sit together and provide an opportunity to develop those transferable skills, but also they can apply in any real business context or any real work context, because they're things that we do every day.
Yeah, look, and in saying that, I think there's a couple of different applications of the short courses that can be explored as well. So one that you made mention of is that idea of entry and pathway. So taking on a short course like this may very well be the first step towards assuming a role in an office environment or any of the potential occupations, which we'll have a look at in just a moment. Or it might be that you upskilled and you picked up a qualification some time ago and you're looking to specialise, or perhaps bring some of the competencies from your initial qualification and make them a little bit more contemporary, bring them up to date. Or even you've got perhaps a generalist, say business or arts qualification or whatever it may be, and you're looking to specialise in a certain area as well. So I think that's one of the great things about the short courses, is that there's that ability to kind of pick and choose areas which are really pertinent to A, what it is that you'd like to do, or B, what it is that you're currently doing, and perhaps even develop a bit of a sense or develop personal competencies and establish yourself as a bit of an expert in those areas as well. Now, the job roles and relevant occupations. So really quite broad, as we made mention of before. And I think digital technology is in anything and in everything we do, as is this idea of, business operations. And we've got obviously just a few examples up there. And as you can see, and I won't go through them all, but certainly have a look at them. And all of these are, of course, made available in the course brochure as well. But anything and everything from the small business manager to consultants to ICT, so information technology support assistant, right through to that specialisation in that area of digital business. Now, I took some industry statistics for digital business analysts from SEEK just today, so in October this year, and average salary of 120,000 with a job satisfaction of 4.5 out of 5. Now, the reason that I put that there is it demonstrates the sort of demand that we're seeing for individuals with these digital business skill sets in industry. Now, that's not to say that you'll go and do this short course and you'll pick up a job as a digital business analyst straight away, but doing these short courses could certainly represent, I think, part of the pathway, or certainly, one step and means by which to work to a role such as this. And certainly, again, getting back to that initial statement that I made, there's demand in all sorts of industries for individuals who are able to apply this idea of digital business to operations across the board. Now, we've had a look at the learning, we've had a look at the units themselves. How are they brought to life by way of the learning materials?
Okay, so throughout throughout the learning experience for students in these short courses, we provide a mixture, and there's a really broad range of learning materials that students will access and experience. So there are textbooks are made available in some units. There are pre-recorded tutorials or pre-recorded webinars that are also available for students to experience. In a couple of the units, there are even podcasts for students to be able to listen to. Students also will receive a learner guide to support them through their study. Excuse me. And of course, there is the additional materials available in the self-directed learning activities as well. Now, those materials, students will access a simulated business that they're able to actually utilize, and they're able to explore, but explore from the context of what they're studying and in which one of the short courses they're studying. So there's a whole range of really great learning materials available, and that includes the presentations, and of course the pre-recorded webinars for students to actually listen to the trainer or the educator for the course, or a subject matter expert providing more information and a deeper exploration of the topics that students are studying.
Excellent. Now, really an extension of learning materials themselves is the assessment function. So let's have a look at some of the possible assessments that students may be exposed to throughout each of these different short courses.
So the way the courses are structured is that students will actually move through each different element or each different topic of their units, and they'll undertake self-directed learning activities. So and they're very different activities. It could be watching activities, I apologise, could be watching video, it could be doing some research online, it could be creating a plan or reflecting on something. Now, those self-directed learning activities directly lead into the assessment tasks for the unit. So students will have experienced or learnt in depth about or deeply explored the topics and the tasks for their assessments before undertaking the assessment. So commonly assessments are made up of a mix of different type of assessment activities, or assessment tasks as we like to call them. So they may be short answer questions or long answer questions. There may be project tasks where students are asked to undertake a research report, create a presentation about that report, create some meeting minutes, or create a specific plan, for example. There could be case study and scenario responses. There could also be white papers or, so there could also be white papers, or students may undertake to develop a case study about a specific business in a specific context. So there is a very broad range of different types of assessment tasks that students will come across in their study here with us at Mentor Education. But commonly students would come across 2 or 3 of these different types of tasks in each assessment, rather than everything that we've got listed here on the screen, because that just could be a little bit overwhelming, I think.
Excellent. Now, the online learning experience itself, I thought I'd just jump into that, and probably a couple of words come to mind, and that is accessibility and flexibility. So perhaps for those who are watching who haven't had much exposure to online learning experience, what I'll do is go through some of the key requirements. Now, the first thing you're going to want to have access to is a strong and reliable internet connection. And the reason you're going to want to do that is so that you can access our learning management system, or the LMS, which is done through the student portal. Now, inside the learning management system, you'll get access to anything and everything that you need in order to complete each of the short courses. So that could be your learning materials, that could be downloading your assessments, things like that. And of course, the other media resources that Iona made mention of earlier, such as presentations or even links to podcasts, depending on what each of the units has got installed by way of the learning material. Now, the other thing you're also going to want to have access to is a laptop or desktop computer, and that's so, of course, so you can complete your assessments. Now, that's not to say, however, that you can't access the learning management system through a smart device. So that could be a tablet or your phone, whatever it may be. And one of the great things about that, of course, is that if you'd like to get access to learning materials such as your readings, you could perhaps do that in transit, you could do it in bed, whatever works for you. But certainly when it comes to the assessments and things like that, you're going to want to get onto that laptop or desktop computer. Now, to access the learning management system on any of the devices that I made mention of, you do that by way of your browser. So it could be your Chrome, your Firefox, your Mac equivalent, whatever it is that you choose to use. And really, it's just that simple. And of course, if you have any troubles along the way, we've got a dedicated student support officer team that can help you with logins, password resets, even induction at the very beginning, just to get you familiar with the navigating through the space there as well. Now, the course itself. Now, of course, you can do each of the individual skill sets one by one. So they were broken up into 12 weeks, 12 weeks, and 14 weeks. If you remember back to when we had a look at the course outlines. But of course, if you were to do them all together, you'd be looking at 38 weeks in total. Now, throughout the time in which you're studying, and certainly leading up to study, there's plenty of support available. Now, that comes by way of an education advice team who can speak to you about what it is that you're currently doing, what it is that you'd like to do in the future, and perhaps, you know, where you're headed direction-wise, and then linking with you to identify what's going to be the most appropriate education solution. Now, in this case, it might be one of these short courses that we've talked about today. Then you'll also have access, once enrolled, of course, to our dedicated student support officer team, who are there, as I said earlier on, to help you with just about anything and everything to do with your learning management system, password resets, even booking appointments for the education team. And then probably arguably the most important group of people there to support you throughout your educational journey is the education and training team. So Iona, I'm going to hand over to you to talk to us a little bit about the support functions that are made available through the education team.
So there's a whole range of supports that the education team or the education and training team make available to students. Students are able to contact us between 9 and 5 on Monday to Friday, so normal business days. And we really encourage students to reach out to us. If you're, as it says here, if you're feeling lost or stuck, if you just have a little question or a big question, please ask us. Please let us know that you need us to contact you. So normally you'd be able to call through between 9 and 5 and speak with one of the education team that is part of the business school. Or alternately, you're able to email as well. So that support, as I said, is available 9 to 5. The additional supports that are available are one-to-one sessions that students are able to book via the student support team with the educators and trainers for their courses. Those one-on-one sessions can be invaluable for students that are feeling a bit lost or feeling a bit overwhelmed, or really just want to work through a question about an assessment, or would like to view an example of how they should go about completing their assessment. There's some other additional supports that we provide to students for which there's no charge whatsoever. So we make available course extensions. Students are able to resubmit or have work remarked, but also for those courses where students have software supplied to them, they're also able to access the educator and trainer's time via the booking system during business hours to actually have a walkthrough of software or set up instructions or anything like that. Mostly we just encourage our students to reach out to us and let us know that you need a hand. We understand life happens. We understand sometimes you need extensions. We understand sometimes you need your course suspended because there has been a life event or something else. So please, we really encourage our students to take advantage of all of the different types of student support or the different ways that you can access our student support that we provide to you by just letting us know.
Excellent. Now, I've put together a series of questions that we often get asked. And the first one is, when it comes to enrolment fees, can I get government funding? And the short answer to that is no. However, we do have payment plans and options available. And if you've got any questions about that, the best thing to do is speak with the education advice team, and they can work out probably the best payment solution that's going to work for you. Now, with respect to starting time, you can start just about any time you like. What we say is, if you can get an enrolment into us, and you can do that, of course, via our online enrolment portal, you'll be up and running with access to your course within around a 24-hour period. Yes, everything's included. So anything and everything you need, from online textbooks to learning materials, the additional support, whatever it may be, it's all included with the initial enrolment fee. And as Iona said earlier on, if you do need an extension, if you do need to resubmit an assignment for one reason or another, there's no additional fees or anything like that. So once that enrolment fee is paid, there's of course no additional charges at all. The course is nationally recognised in all states and territories around Australia, okay, because they do form part of formal skill sets as part of the Australian Qualifications Framework, which is really, really exciting. There's no prerequisites to this course, so it is open entry, but like with all of our courses, we do ask that you have a reasonable command of English language and, of course, reasonable numeracy skills as well. And if you've got any questions about that, again, the best thing to do is speak with the education advice team. And how long do people usually take to finish? Well, it's going to depend on what skill sets you do, or whether or not you do them all together. But as we said earlier, the timeframes that you want to have in your mind is 12 weeks, 12 weeks and 14 weeks. Or of course, altogether, it's going to be a little bit longer than that. Now, we've been delivering education in this space for almost 20 years now. And it's fair to say that the competencies that we've delivered in this space are very much reflected in our student outcomes. The support that we offer our students, I think, is critical to the ethos that we try and live by, I suppose, in many respects as an education institution, and it's reflected in the feedback that we've got. And I'm going to hand on over to you to tell us what these numbers up here in front of us mean.
Thanks very much, James. And we thought we'd share this with everybody today. So what everyone can see here is what our students say about us. So each year, the National Centre for Vocational Education and Research undertakes a national survey of all students, and these are what our students, these big numbers up here are what our students said about us in the last survey in 2020. So 92% of our graduates here at Mentor were employed or enrolled in further study. 91.6% of our students were satisfied with the quality of their training, and 90.2% of students were satisfied with their assessment, and 86.5% of our students would recommend us as a training provider. So what our students say about us truly reflects our commitment to our students, to the support of our students, and to our students' futures, and whether that be their aspirations for further study, or their aspirations for careers, or just personal development.
Excellent. Now, finally, if you'd like more information about what it is that we talked about today, there's a few different ways you can get it. So probably the most direct and simple way is to head on over to the website. So that's mentor.edu.au, and there you'll be able to find the Digital Business Short Courses page and download a course brochure which covers anything and everything that we've talked about today, plus more. Otherwise, email us direct. So that's courseconsultant@mentor.edu.au, and you'll be put in direct contact with one of the education advice team members, who again can provide you with the information and answer any questions that you may have. And then finally, if you prefer to contact us on the phone, that's available as well. So 1300 306 146. The team based here in Melbourne, you can speak to them directly between 9 and 5 Melbourne and Sydney time. And of course, if none of those options work, then we've also got a live instant messaging chat function on the webpage that's looked after by education advice team as well. Iona, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, James. It's been great being here.
Excellent. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in. We hope you found this really informative. We look forward to seeing you as students soon. As always, take an opportunity to excite potential, and we'll catch you next time.